obviously grew up in the Isle of Wight. The very idea that two oiks from Shanklin and one oik from Gurnard could even consider having a career in music, let alone having the audience that we did that supported us through the dark times where we didn't have the hits that the record company were expecting us to have. We had an incredible. We had standing room only. In fact, we had sold out gigs even at the times when the commercial side wasn't what the record company expected. It was incredible. We had this constituency. That's something you can only dream of. You wouldn't even dare dream of that. So we were very lucky, and to go through that experience together, even though things ended in a way that maybe we'd rather they didn't, we're still brothers in arms, and to our dying day we'll always be that. I know some wonderful musicians. We have two who are going to play with us tonight, and very few people get to be in a band with their mates, which is just such a rare thing. It's so rare, and for that to work, and in a way, Level 42, as the obscurity of the Isle of Wight, coming to London, but the actual nature of the band, actually how it became a band the way it was, is just crazy as well, because we had a singing bass player that set out to be a drummer. We had a great, amazing keyboard player that was doing percussion at the Guild School of Music. I was studying classical percussion, playing drums, but playing the piano. My brother also plays sax locally in dance bands and was playing bass in a heavy metal band when we started rehearsing. So it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. And I have a different recollection about how we got to sing.
Yeah, you find this a lot. We kind of, our memories are different. It's a funny thing.
Yeah. Mine favours me somehow. It's very strange. But I'm going to hand over to Mike now, but at the end of a particular day, I seem to remember it like this, we did a backing track for Love Music Love, and at the end of the day we all had a go at singing it. I seem to remember having a go, and it was dreadful, and then at the end of it, Mike and Mark sang, and so Mark sang it, and we put out 3,000 copies, or they put out 3,000 copies on the League Records. It was licensed to Polydor, having sold the 3,000 copies, it sold 70,000 copies in the license over that summer. We got a 5-album deal, and we look at each other going, now what do we do? I had to sit Mark down in the pub in Wimbledon at one point, and he went, so I persuaded him. He was having cold feet, as you would, having grown up as a kid, wanting to be a drummer. And he was a great drummer. He would have been one of the great drummers. So I did actually do it, persuade him, emotional pressure. You can do it, you're great, and you go for it, and there are very few musicians that can play those bass lines and sing against those bass lines with those melodies. I don't think anybody else would have done it. So, that's all.
As a lead into kind of what we're going to lead off with, I met Phil. As he said, I was at Guild studying percussion, and I walked into the college, and there was a guy playing the sort of ropey old percussion kit, and he sounded like nothing else. He sounded to me like Billy Cobham had suddenly walked in the building, and I thought, that's not one of our percussion students, that's not one of the guys I know. Who the hell is that? So I went straight to the room, and it was Phil, and so, we got chatting, and he told me that he was coming up and having part-time lessons with my percussion teacher, and that he came from the Isle of Wight, and then he kind of later said, well, he had a friend who was another drummer from the Isle of Wight who was in America with his brother, sort of bumming around taking greyhounds and stuff. And I thought, blimey, if this guy's good, what's that other guy like? And so later on, I met Mark, and he was working in Macari's up in Charing Cross Road, and I used to go and sneak in the back room with him, and he used to sort of pretend that I was a customer and get the mini moog out and start, and I started playing on it, and then Joe Macari would walk in, and then he had to go, yes, and it's available for £1,300. But yeah, he'd borrow the bass. At the first rehearsals, Mark borrowed a bass. He was good. He had it straight away. There was no. It seemed to me like there was no learning curve with Mark. He's one of these people that you give him an instrument and straight away he sounds like he knows what he's doing on it. I don't know how he does it.
Can I just say something to add to what you're saying? I won't cut in too long. It's that I used to go down. I was at the Royal Academy of Music, which is on Marylebone Road, and obviously Charing Cross Road is nearby. So I walked down to Seymour, and for that first winter, we would, Mark would be playing the bass, sounding really good, and copying Stanley Clarke, do Lopsy Lou, and then, because we're from the Isle of Wight, and I don't take this the wrong way, but every black musician that walked in, we just thought was going to be like Stanley Clarke. We just thought that every black musician in London, because when we left the island, people said, "You'll be back in 6 months, they're too switched on for you up there, you know, who do you think you are?" But when I used to sort of look at Mark and go, "You're better than that." They'd pick up a bass and do something, and I go, "You're better than that guy." I mean, and this went on for like a few months until we kind of, the penny dropped, maybe, that we could be on a par with these musicians, because obviously some great guys walked in, but we just thought we would be sort of floored by these people, you know, by not just the black guys, because we were Larry Graham, Stanley Clarke, and Billy Coffin, we were so influenced by black musicians, but the thing is, it took us a while for the penny to drop that we actually had something to say, you know.
One of the things that when we first got together to play, obviously, you know, we kind of were making up stuff. And there was this one track that we all loved listening to, because Phil was crashing at his brother's flat and battling John Gould's flat, and had this Lee Oscar album, and there's a track called Haunted House, which
Yes.
you know, some
Yes.
and it's a very influential tune, I think, because there was just something about it was a very simple sequence, but such a great groove. And it sort of had elements of things that we liked in terms of, like, you know, the way that the drums and the bass worked together, and the fact that it had this kind of loping thing, and it had this sort of chant on the top. And you know, when I booked our first gig at the Student Union Bar, which was not in the Guild Hall, it was in a separate building in the middle of the expensive Barbican flats. You know, we got closed down after 3 numbers because we were too noisy. One of the things we did do was the lead off with Haunted House, because it was, you know, seemed such a great way to start. So, in the sort of recognition of that, we'd like to invite 2 friends onto the stage to sort of help us perform it. So, we'd like Sophie on the bass, and Peter on the percussion. Sophie Long, Peter Oxford. Thank you very much. We could just make a little pass